All right, everybody, welcome back into Cherry Picking. Today's video, streamers for the weekend. I know a lot of you are in your championship rounds. I also realized, I didn't even think about the consolation rounds for some of you who aren't in the finals, I guess you could say, but those are still going on because we got some questions from our last video, the must-have. So if you haven't checked that out, be sure to check that out as well. But streamers this week for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to kind of end off your week and your matchup. I got 5 guys, 1 guy for Friday, and then 2 for each Saturday and Sunday. But before we get into that, love to talk to you guys about PROPS.CASH. One of the better tools I use right now, especially when I'm looking for streamers like this. It's great for sports betting as well, so if you're into that, you'll love this. But it's good to look at, especially historical matchups, shows you kind of how many goals, assists, and how a player has fared against teams in their past, whether it be in the season or the years before that. So if you're interested in signing up, be sure to check out the link in the description. Use promo code OwnersBox, get 25% off for your first month, saving a lot on that first month, and then it'll go into rotation after that. But definitely be sure to check that out if that's something that you're looking for. A very useful tool for your fantasy hockey team and just NHL bet. Okay, so Friday, March 31st, a small slate of games. The primary pickup for me would be Peterka against this Buffalo Sabres team, but he's 26% rostered, so I don't want to only give him. I think this will be one of the highest scoring games of the night. He's been really solid on that line with Capo Caco and Alexis Lafreniere. Plays in a lot of different situations, starting to be much trusted in the offensive end. But if we're looking at another player, a guy I really like, Peterka on the Buffalo Sabres in that same game. So the Rangers are giving up the 6th most shots per goal over the last 10 games played. You might not think that, but over the last 10 games, just haven't been as very good defensively. Have been saved by some good goaltending, but Yaroslav Halak will be in net for this one. They're bottom 10 in the NHL when it comes to expected goals against. So with Halak in net, that combination with Buffalo's offense, that's a huge upside for anybody on this team. And Peterka, I think he'll be able to take advantage of that. He has 9 points his last 10 games, 2 goals and 7 assists. So that's some great production from a guy who's not necessarily on that first line. Creates a lot of offense and chips in with a few hits and block shots here and there. Playing in front of Devin Levi for the first time. Devin Levi, a Buffalo Sabres prospect, went to Northeastern. Their season is done, so now he is with the Sabres team. See if they can figure out their goalie situation, because it has been bad this season. But Peterka, as I mentioned, I think these guys will try to play a little even harder for his first start. Always good to get a W under your belt as a goalie in your first win. So I think this will be one of the more higher scoring games on the Friday slate. You're looking at two teams that played more recently, and the final score was 2-1. The game before that was 5-4. So I expect more fireworks in this one than the game before. Peterka, 1% roster, definitely a great ad and streamer for Friday. Okay, so Saturday, April 1st, we're going to be looking at a matchup with the Edmonton Oilers playing against, guess who? Yes, the Anaheim Ducks. Why do we keep targeting the Anaheim Ducks? Because we can, and because their defense stinks. So you can pick out these guys on the 3rd and 4th line that'll provide really good value. And recently, this Ducks team has been very, very bad to left wingers, allowing the 2nd most shots and scoring opportunities over the last 10 games played. So enter Warren Foegele, who's playing on that 3rd line right now. He's 1% rostered, playing on a 3rd line with Mattias Janmark and Nick Bjugstad. He's the goal scorer on this line, no question. Nick Bjugstad, he's a center on this line. He plays in all different situations, but Jay Woodcroft certainly isn't putting him out there to score goals. He's very solid defensively. And then you have Mattias Janmark, who's a little faster than Warren Foegele, I would say, but I think Foegele definitely has a better shot, and you could see it. He's been the guy who's producing the most points on this line over the last 10 games. He's 5th in expected goals for with 2 goals and 7 points. He's created the 2nd most high danger chances as well over the last 10 games out of any teammate, only behind Evander Kane. Most of these are coming in 5-on-5 situations, but he's also playing on that 2nd power play line as well with some familiar faces, Nick Bjugstad being one of the guys, his center on that 2nd power play as well. So you always want to target the Ducks. Recently, you want to take advantage of the left wingers, and Warren Foegele is one of those guys. So at 1% rostered, just like the chap we talked about before, Peterka, a great ad this week. All right, so the other guy we're going to be looking at on Saturday is an earlier game on the St. Louis Blues. He's 33% rostered, so a little bit higher, but he was on my must-add this week. Sammy Blais, I think, has a great opportunity to really excel against this Predators team. They're just absolute poverty at this point of the season. I would hate to be Jussi Saros right now because he's just getting peppered with shots night in and night out with the Nashville Predators offense pretty much doing next to nothing. So they're allowing these 5th most shots per game over the last 10 and the 2nd worst expected goals against per 60 in that same time frame as well. So allowing a lot of opportunities to wingers. That's why we're going to be targeting Sammy Blais here, who's been playing on a new line now. They were playing before on the 3rd line, but Kapanen and Blais have been moved up and are now playing with Jordan Kyrou just because they're producing offensively at such a high rate. And there's not a ton of guys left on the St. Louis Blues team anymore after moving a lot of them at the deadline. He's been awesome, though. 11 points his last 10 games played. It's territory we don't generally see Sammy Blais in ever, a point per game, 4 goals and 8 assists. Playing more ice time, I think, than he's probably ever have in his career as well. And he's also playing on the second power play. He's 4th in expected goals for and 3rd in high danger chances over the last 10 games played as well. This sets up perfectly for Sammy Blais because he's been playing that winger spot very well, especially as a bigger body. This little puny lineup that the Preds have been putting out, I think he'll be able to dominate. So he'll be able to bank on him also throwing the body. He has over 200 hits this season, leads the team in hits since joining the team as well. I know he's high percent rostered, but if you can somehow get him, or if you already have him on your team, he's a must start on Saturday. Okay, so Sunday, a bigger slate than we're used to seeing on Sundays. Usually, I think there's about 6 or 7 games. Definitely some plus matchups to take advantage of. And guess who's playing again and on a back-to-back as well? And that is the Anaheim Ducks. They're playing the Calgary Flames. So I'm going to be looking at Andrew Mangiapane in that matchup. 29% rostered right now, so similar to Sammy Blais, but I think in some leagues you could definitely still add him. He's a must-start in this situation as well. For one, Mangiapane scored his most recent game against Anaheim. He also has 11 points in 13 career games against this team. Playing on the first line with Elias Lindholm and Tyler Toffoli, this Flames team has been a tough team to peg recently, but it's clear this top line is definitely going to be the line going forward, the one that Daryl Sutter is probably going to trust for offense because they've been producing at the highest rate more recently. He's 3rd in expected goals for and 2nd in high danger chances for over the last 10 games played. He only has 4 points in his last 10 games, but with his production recently and how he's played against this team in the past, I think this is where we could see him have a really big game. They are at home. We've seen Mangiapane have a lot of his success on the road, but who knows? You know, the home crowd, some home cooking could maybe help him out here. And I think against Anaheim team, that season is pretty much done. It's been done for a very long time now. I think he'll be able to take advantage of this matchup and definitely pot one and have a good day for your fantasy team. All right, so the last guy we are going to be looking at on Sunday is Shane Pinto on the Ottawa Senators. He's 5% rostered, 20 goals on the season. This was a guy that was actually vying for the Calder at the beginning of the year. He was one of, I want to say, maybe a top 6 favorite because he was just scoring on a lot of, not a lot of shots. So I don't think a lot of people thought it was sustainable, unfortunately, but he's still a focal point in this offense. He's playing on the second line right now, and they're playing Columbus, who has continued to give up a lot of shots, especially to centers, scoring chances included, and just overall has been bad defensively. Looking at their most recent last 10 games, 3rd in shots against with 35, 1st in goals against, almost 5 per game, and that's in 5-on-5 situations, so that excludes power play opportunities as well. So just really tough on the defensive side with how many injuries they have, and then goaltending as well has just been shit. So they've also been allowing the 2nd most high danger chances allowed as well. This is a similar play to Mangiapane in the sense of this is Shane Pinto, who over the last 10 games has a very high expected goals for, but not a lot of points. So we're looking at second in expected goals for over the last 10 games, so he's creating a lot of offense. Only has 4 points to show for it. He's playing on an elite line with Drake Batherson and Alex DeBrincat. Both have great numbers against Columbus as well, so an assist could definitely be in the near future for Shane Pinto. And then Columbus's goaltending has been terrible. You're either going to get Michael Hutchinson or Daniil Tarasov, who just obviously aren't great goaltenders, but when you mix that in with almost 40 shots per game and high-quality chances at that, it's just tough to really be a good goalie in that situation. We've seen Pinto's ability to score on a low shot volume, and this is definitely a team that can fall victim to that as well, but they're going to be allowing even more opportunities. So as long as Shane Pinto gets his minutes on the ice as that second centerman, I think he'll definitely have a great game. 5% rostered, definitely a play you could take advantage of on Sunday. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know what you thought of the video. If there's any other guys you want to talk about or ask questions about, be sure to leave a comment, join the Discord, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you're looking to sign up at PROPS.CASH, be sure to check out that link in the description, and I'll see you guys next week.